Fans, my name is Kris Kloss. This is Xtreme Memories right here on the Wrestling Chatter YouTube channel on the 15th and the 30th of every month. Be sure to subscribe to the Wrestling Chatter. The more great subscribers we get, the more great content we can bring to you. Want to thank all our fans. Xtreme Memories has been an absolute blast going down memory lane. And, just firsthand, this has been very special, man. So connecting with all the guys and, hey, man, the guys that made it all happen, the guys that basically launched this. Rob Black was the one who purchased and put that ship in the water, and we were all the ones with the oars and cleaning the ship and making it run. So thank you to all the guys that have been on the show. And again, thanks to the fans for all your comments, Facebook comments, Wrestling Chatter. Once again, be sure to subscribe, comment, like this video, guys, share it. And once again, Xtreme Memories, the 15th, the 30th of every month. My guest at this time, one of the originals. We're talking back in the infancy stages. We're talking back 1999 circa. Michael Modest, welcome, sir, to Xtreme Memories, my friend.
Man, great to be here, man. It's a trip talking to you, and I'm, for some reason I still expected you to have the long hair and everything. I don't know why.
You look pretty much the same, man. So yeah. But all right, well, Mike, let's get into it first. XPW, before we get into that, look, you made quite a name for yourself outside of XPW, but when did you break into wrestling?
Oh man, I don't remember the exact year, but it was I think it was 1990. It was right after I graduated, and I wrestled Coco Beware for WWE, and then I was there the night Randy Savage proposed to Elizabeth at Arco Arena, but I was in the back and I got scratched off the board. That was the night that I met Hulk Hogan. I was quick Mean Joe Green story here. I was in the back of the locker room, and I was kind of trying to stand out of the way because I'd already been scratched, so I knew they probably weren't going to use me, but I had to stay suited up anyways. And so hazing was pretty popular back in those days, and so I kind of wanted to just stay away from the boys, Right. And so I went out to the parking area, and I was just leaning up against a post, and the show had already started, and in comes a limousine, and out of the limousine comes Brutus Beefcake, Jimmy Hart, and Hulk Hogan, and they're walking by me, and Beefcake and Hart walk right by me, and Hogan's about to walk by me, and then he stops, and he says, "Hey kid, you look nervous." And I was like, "I'm a little nervous, and he introduces himself, and he says, "I'm Terry," and I was like, "Yeah, I know who you are, man." And he says, "Well, what are you nervous about?" He goes, "You know how to bump, right?" And I said, "Yeah, I know how to bump." And he goes, "Well, that's all you're going to have to do, man." He was like, "You just bump." And he goes, "As long as you've been trained to do that," he goes, "you should be fine." And he goes, "Are you working tonight?" And I said, "I was supposed to, but I got scratched." And he asked me if I was going to be in Salem the next day. He goes, "Well, are you going to Salem Arena?" And I said, "Yeah, I'll be there tomorrow." And the next day, I was on the board to wrestle Coco Beware. And I really, to this day, I really feel like Hulk had something to do with that. Like he was like, "Hey, this goofy kid with the multicolored hair and, kind of flabby kid. Yeah, let him do a job against Coco." And it was on the primetime show on USA. So I actually got to go like 4 minutes or something like that. It was pretty cool.
Okay, so that was from Salem Arena, right?
Yeah, Salem Arena. And but my first pro match, I actually got my ass kicked. That was at the Solano County Fairgrounds, and the guy's name was the Samoan Bulldog, and he had asked me, I had told him that I had a bunch of ideas, and he was like, "Okay, well, tell me your ideas." So I gave him all my ideas, and he was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." And I was like, okay, cool. To what? He goes, to all of it, man. We're going to use all of that. And I was like, oh, cool. So I walked away feeling pretty good about it. And then we went to lock up, and he punched me straight in the nose. And then he hit me a couple more times, punched me in the face a couple more times and pinned me. And that was my first introduction to pro wrestling. And when I went back to my trainer, Jerry Monty, I asked him, I said, Jerry, what did I do wrong? And Jerry said, well, the next time it's your first match and a vet asks you if you have any ideas, your answer is no. I have no ideas. You're the veteran, so you tell me what we're going to do.
Good mindset.
Yeah.
And listen instead of talk type thing,
Right. Totally.
So man, you had a lot of experience. Of course, we want to get into XPW. Prior to that, you were in Beyond the Mat, and that I think showcased you quite a bit. Kind of put you on. It was you and Tony Jones, right?
Right.
Yeah, and both guys into XPW eventually. And what was the buzz in Northern California about XPW at that time, if you remember?
Well, it was a strong, of course, all the independent promoters, they want to keep their talent. So all the independent promoters were kind of like, oh, it's some jabron, some guy's in the porn business, got a lot of money. We've seen this before. He's going to burn through his cash and close company, and anybody that goes there, won't work here again, kind of thing. But, I'm just not that way. I'm going to take the opportunity. And I had never met Rob before. And I'll tell you this, a lot of people, they may say whatever about Rob Black, but the first day I met him, he seemed really cool to me, and he let me stay in his house. So he opened his door to me, and I stayed the night there. And I was always treated well by Rob, and I never had any real problems with the guy,
Okay.
But I did realize very quickly that he was kind of out there, and his ideas didn't necessarily mesh or work necessarily with wrestling,
Right.
But I mean, I guess that's what artists have to do. They have to, kind of push the envelope. They have to, see how far they can take things,
No.
And Rob was real good at doing that, pushing the envelope for sure.
He's one of the best at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But who contacted you for XPWers? Is something you contacted them, or did they find you?
No, I think I was knocking at their door, I believe. And I think if I remember right, I think Kevin Kleinrock helped me get connected with Rob and everything. But yeah, I was definitely, no one came looking for me. I was definitely the one, looking for the opportunity. And I felt like XW had a chance to do some really big things.
Right. At the time, for sure. And wrestling was so different at that time, So Kevin Kleinrock, you went knocking at the door, and Kevin was kind of the liaison for you at the time, right? When you were talking about working for XPW.
Correct.
Okay, cool. So now did you look at XPW like as just another indie company, or was this something different in your mind at the time?
Say that again, please.
Was XPW just another indie company, or did you look at it differently at the time?
No, I looked at it very differently. The porn industry obviously has a lot of money, and Rob was doing some big things, and bringing in some big names, and no doubt, I think I think he was doing something very different, you know, than ECW was hardcore, but Rob was trying to even top what ECW was doing, and that was real evident right away, right from the start.
Speaking of the porn, Michael, what was your mindset about the adult content like that surrounded XPW and that was involved in it?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Okay. What was your mindset about speaking of the porn, what was your mindset about the adult content that was like infused in the storyline and all that? And the product?
Well, you know, I didn't mind it. I kind of looked at it like this: as long as it was something that I could show my grandmother, or you know, as long as it was decent for television, then I wasn't too worried about it. There were a couple of angles. There was Rob wanted to do like a rape angle, and I wasn't comfortable with that. And it was supposed to be with Jake Lawless, and the whole idea of that just kind of freaked me out, and so I didn't want to be a part of that angle. But other than that, I really didn't have a problem with you know, the mix of the porn into it. It was still a wrestling product, you know, and it wasn't. I don't think it was ever like made to be like pornographic necessarily.
Right. Did XPW having TV commercials on during Raw and Nitro, did that kind of change your mindset when you saw that was happening? Now you were in Northern California. I don't know if you got wind of that, but they were on, you know, Raw and Nitro all throughout SoCal.
Right. Right. I saw some of their TV spots, but I think I saw them on VHS. Someone else had recorded them. But no, I already thought that you know, XPW was going to be very popular and very successful. Um, I'm always shocked actually that it ended up closing as soon as it did. I expected it to actually do even better, and its relaunch I think will do better because of the fact that now it's filling a gap that really no one has that market right now. No one's doing the hardcore stuff. Um, no one's doing the super creative angles that maybe haven't been done before, you know. Um, so I think this relaunch, and also just the talent that Rob has handpicked for this. I mean, the talent is amazing, and it's flawless actually. So I expect really good wrestling from this product as well as just as well as the crazy angles and stuff.
Do you have Michael and speaking of that interesting that you were going to be involved in an angle that was obviously controversial. That was when you were in the hierarchy, right? With Damian Steele, with Jake Lawless and all them. And
yes,
yeah, okay. So that was like the first big faction before Rob went on and became his persona with the Black Army and all that. Did you have any favorite matches in XPW?
Probably my favorite match was the one against Donovan,
Right. And
or Joey Chaos.
right.
We had a really good match too.
I remember you and Donovan Morgan worked very well together, and you guys did stuff in Reseda and I want to say Ventura.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and Chaos was, man, spring chicken at those years.
He was, man. I remember I just flew in and I was running late. The flight was late and this and that, and so I got to the locker room and I was lacing my boots, and Joey came up and he was like, "Hey man, I've got some ideas." And I was like, "Okay, go ahead." And so he's telling me his ideas and I'm lacing up my boots. And then when he was done, I just looked up and I said, "Okay, no to all of that." And I was like, let's just do this and then we'll work, we'll kind of work it as we go, and because it was just, I didn't have enough time to really sit and think about high spots that
Right.
were, like pre-planned so much, so I think we had like one or two really solid high spots and the rest of it we just called in the ring. And
Wow.
it was a really good match.
Yeah, I remember that. I mean, pretty much. Did you have any matches with Tony Jones in XPW?
Not for XPW, no.
Huh.
No, we never crossed paths.
But you guys traveled together, right?
Yeah, we sure did. With Vic Grimes usually.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah, the
But
three of
you
us would go down.
but you were there obviously long before Vic Grimes was in XPW.
Yes, yeah, yeah. I was one of the first crew in there, and it was right after the rape angle that I was kind of like, I don't know if that's for me. And then I started getting the feeling that Rob maybe didn't think I was a loyal enough guy or whatever.
Oh,
And so I knew my time there was limited. And Donovan ended up staying a lot longer than I did because he started training at the XPW boot camp or whatever you want to call it, training school.
yeah.
And Donovan started training down there, and I came back up to NorCal.
And you were working for APW up there?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
APW and also big time wrestling as well.
Oh, right. Big time wrestling. Yeah, that's right. And they were also on the Bay Area?
Yeah, and they
Okay.
still run. They both of those companies are still running today.
Isn't that
That's
amazing?
something. Yeah, it is.
Gosh, man. I mean, different management, obviously.
Right.
Roland passing away a few years ago.
Yeah.
Um, but so okay, you talked a little bit about it there. How okay, maybe Rob was unsure that you weren't a team player.
Right.
Um, it was hard sometimes to you wanted to go along, but man, something like that, I totally understand, man. Like you said, you want to show your grandmother. That would be
Right.
tough to show your grandmother.
Yeah. Well, and the thing about pro wrestling, like it'd be different. Honestly, it's a strange thing. It'd be different if I was in a movie
Right.
and I was
Yeah.
portraying a rapist. It'd be different.
But there
But
but there again, why is that different?
because wrestling blurs the line of reality.
Right.
That's why, because it's a live action performance. Um, when you're sitting in front of a movie screen, you know that it's not real, but live performance is a little different.
It's funny, like wrestling is oh, the multitude there. But wrestling is funny because it's funny you mentioned that, Michael, because all right, yeah, you watch a movie and you know that's an actor playing a role or a
Right.
play even. But wrestling tells the audience this is a real sporting event, everybody. What you are seeing is real. That's what they're portraying to the audience. So yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
It's there's nothing like it. Wrestling can't really be only thing wrestling can be compared to if you're going to have a sports entertainment umbrella. You got pro wrestling, Harlem Globetrotters, and roller derby.
Yeah, that's
That's
about it.
sports
Those are the
sports
three.
entertainment. Yeah, I mean wrestling
Right.
is number one now with all that. It probably arguably was originally the Harlem Globetrotters, and then wrestling was and then roller derby. But now, of course, wrestling's.
Right.
But I can't think of any two other entities than those that would fall under sports entertainment. Where, dude, when you watch a Harlem Globetrotters, no, this is a real basketball game. That's you know what I mean.
Right. Right.
Yeah. And when stuff
Yeah.
happens there, it's like, whoa, if something bad happened at a Harlem Globetrotters game that was like salacious or something, that's not right. But the same exact thing can be in a TV and a movie. It'd be like, oh wow, ooh, wow, look at that. Okay, cool, good movie. You know,
Right, right, exactly. Yeah,
which
so
is why.
that was my
Please.
hang up with it was I was just I didn't want to be involved in something that one might get me in trouble, and then two, like I said, I couldn't show my grandma that one, and just wasn't comfortable with it at all.
So aside from that personal maybe interaction, or like maybe that was the beginning of the end for you in XPW overall, I mean, you also shared a little bit in the beginning, staying at his house. But what overall was your opinion on Rob Black? Because you, like you said, you've worked with guys like Roland Alexander, and quite a few others. But from your experience and personally, your opinions on Rob Black.
I would, two words popped into my head when you just asked that question, and I thought, driven madman.
Hmm. That I can't argue.
Yeah, I would say
Yeah,
driven madman.
yeah. I mean, pretty much, yeah. And God, I don't know which one he was more, madman or driven. Probably
Right.
all the same.
It's a real close call,
Yeah,
But what's funny is he you wouldn't have one without the other.
right.
The madness is what drives him, you know, and he pushes so hard that it makes him mad.
Yeah,
It's
right.
it's like
Yeah,
the yin and yang.
it's a odd yin and yang. It's a
Yeah,
yin and yang.
right.
Did Roland Alexander, did he have an opinion on Rob and XPW? I'm
Oh
sure he
yeah, he didn't like Rob at all,
right,
because Rob was taking his talent. That's the way Roland looked at it,
right.
and he disliked him in every way, shape, and form. Roland. I remember Roland saying he was a mark and this and that, and I kept looking at Roland thinking like, well, yeah, you're smart to the business too, but I mean, like, what's the difference between you and Rob? Really, you know. And I guess Roland did lace up a pair of boots at one point, trying
Okay.
to become a wrestler, but you know, obviously he never. Yeah, his Roland's name was actually going to be Johnny August, and
Oh,
there's somebody actually using the name right now, and I think that's pretty cool.
oh,
Um, yeah, um, but yeah, Roland really did not like Rob. Felt like Rob was raiding him. That's what he said. Oh, he's raiding all my talent. And it is what it is. That's life in the big city. The next bigger company that offers more money or offers more opportunity is going to be the one that sucks your talent away.
that's just the nature of the business.
Exactly. It's
It's really the
it's a
nature
natural
of
progression of things.
it's really the nature of the world we live in, or the country we live in, or the
Yeah.
world we live in. Money.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. And why didn't you wrestle more for XPW? I know you said why, basically what you thought to have been why you left. But why didn't you wrestle more for XPW in 2000 to 2003? Because if I was mistaken, did you make it to 2000 in XPW? I think it was.
No, I don't think I did, man. I was really only there at the very beginning.
And Michael, it's crazy because you came in with a lot of notoriety. You were in Beyond the Mat. You had been, I think, what, to Japan, Mexico, or no?
Um, no, I'd wrestled for some Mexican companies at the time, and but I really hadn't done too much traveling other than in the States.
Okay.
So like that was right around the time I was having my WCW runs and things like that. Um, so I Chris Candido I think came into XPW at some point, and I think I saw him uh, that one time that he came in, and then I think I was gone the following show.
Okay.
I think Rob stopped booking me. But I mean, it was kind of a mutual thing. It's not like Rob just stopped using me. I pretty much, I knew that when I didn't play along with that angle and I didn't want to do that, I already knew that I wasn't Rob's type, of
Yeah.
character wrestler. Rob wanted guys that were more like yes men and would do what he said to do, not necessarily put their 2 cents in. And I wasn't really trying to put my 2 cents. I just didn't want to be involved in a rape angle. That's all.
Oh yeah. And did you feel at any time, because a lot of guys like Damian Steele and a few others were gone, but then came back again. Did you ever have that inclination to maybe try to come back between the time they XPW folded in 03?
No, I never had any ideas of going back. My idea was uh, Donovan was already there and working with the company, and so if they blew up, eventually I felt like I could cross that bridge if I really needed to, or if it really behooved me, through Donovan. If Donovan stayed with the company and he became cemented in there, then
Yeah.
eventually he might be able to get me back in. But I was already concentrating on Japan. As soon as I was done with XPW, I was heading on to other things.
Because I think when you came in, it was a kind of like it brought some credibility. Like it felt like a ring old school technician when we saw you. You're a young guy, obviously, but you
Right,
came across like you were, I don't know, Arn Anderson or
right.
yeah. It just came across that it was just this traditional pro wrestler, and I think that
Well, what I really liked about the company is it was easy for me to get heat because all I had to do was wrestle pretty much. And I remember there was one show where I basically cut a promo about how I wasn't going to use a chair. I'm not using chairs.
oh
You people
yeah.
are sick. You want to see me hit somebody with a chair? That's insane. I'm a wrestler. I'm an athlete. And I was wrestling Jake Lawless, I believe, and
Right.
all through the show, I kept picking up the chair and teasing like I was going to hit him with it, but then I dropped the chair and kick him and throw him back in the ring or whatever. And at the end of the match, I picked up the chair and he was getting up and he was turning right like I was going to hit him. And instead, I unfolded the chair, set it down, hit him with something, a European uppercut. He took a backward bump, and then I sat down in the chair and took a toe hold while I was sitting in the chair. And I said, now that's how you use a chair. And man, it got so much like heat, from that hardcore crowd. It was really kind of cool.
Yeah. Wow, that's interesting, man. And um yeah, because again, it was almost like you were out of place in this company, but because of that, you got over in an interesting way.
Right,
Like, what
right,
is this technical wrestler doing in our hardcore world?
right.
And yeah, and I honestly think that could have been utilized a little bit more, kind of like what they did with Dynamite D and toward the end when he was, wanted to be a wrestler and
Right.
what was your opinion on him? We lost him, of course, way too soon, and guys like Supreme, Big Q of the West Siders. Anybody that you can kind of talk
Man,
about?
all those guys, everybody was really cool. Even Lester, I didn't appreciate Lester so much in the ring as I appreciated him out of the ring. He was a really good person and a good father, and in the ring he was a little on the stiff side, which is funny coming from me. But you know, John was awesome. Everybody I met down there was really really cool.
Sorry, John who?
So uh, John from the Gangsters.
Yeah, West Side. Okay, Webster. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
In black. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we hope.
They like Homeless Jimmy, another great guy, like good soul,
Oh yeah, dude.
Um, as I mentioned before, Joey, Kid Chaos, um, just a very cool crew of guys, and the ladies too. All the Misty Blue and Lizzie Borden. They were all very cool people, man. I think the most abrasive guy in the whole company was probably Rob.
Yeah, which in some ways was a lot, but in some ways, look, I've seen a lot of promoters kind of get pushed around by the boys, and
Oh
basically
yeah,
they let the inmates run the asylum. I've seen that a lot, and I'm sure
right.
you have too. You're right. And so,
Oh yeah,
look, yeah, if there's one thing you can say about Rob, that was never going to happen over there.
right.
Yeah. So, I mean, at times it's made feel a little drill sergeant-y, and it could get on your nerves. But look, if he's going to run his company, he does. He just fit that role pretty perfect. Like he didn't even have to
Well, he's the,
try.
he's he's the one that stands to win or lose all the money. So
Right, right,
you kind of have to go with your gut and what you think is best, and that's what you got to do,
right.
because ultimately you're the one that has to answer to your own self.
So, Michael, I mean, talking about all the great stars. Uh, do you have, like, looking back at the history or even at the time, like, whether you want to say a Mount Rushmore, but what are your some of your favorite wrestlers from the company?
Well, I wasn't a big fan of the pogo gimmick, but I was happy that Joe Applebaum was getting a good shot. Uh, Vic Grimes, also getting a really good opportunity there. Um, Sabu, uh, Chris Candido. Chris was one of my favorites all the way around. Just a great human being, an incredible wrestler. Uh, yeah, man, it was just packed with talent. The company really was. And after I left, I think the company even got better. It got bigger, and
Yeah, it got bigger for sure.
yeah.
Were you bummed like a little bit? Like I would have loved to see you work some of those shows at the LA Sports Arena at the Grand Olympic Auditorium.
No, no. Like once I left, I never looked back. It wasn't my opportunity. A lot of times in wrestling, you have to look at things that way.
Yeah,
You can't look back and go, oh, I wish this or I wish that. You have to
right.
go, oh, that wasn't my opportunity. That was an opportunity for my friends. That was an
That's
opportunity
yeah,
for other guys. I had my opportunities later with different things that fit more along with what I felt was pro wrestling.
right.
No, Noah was a real godsend to me, and I when I went to wrestle for Noah, I literally was wrestling with my heroes. The guys that I really looked up to, guys like Mitsuharu Misawa, Kobashi, Akiyama. Um, I was really blessed to get a chance to go to that company. So I never looked back and thought, oh, I wish I'd have done this or that, because it just wasn't my style.
Right.
I don't think ultimately I don't think I would have been successful in the company.
Hmm. It's kind of like going to an audition for acting. Like once you audition, like that's it. If they call me, great. If not, I'm not even going to think twice about what just happened.
You have to let it go.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to let it go and not worry about it anymore.
So let me ask you this. By the way, you've been on our list of guests we've been wanting to talk to for a while, and I got to mention that you were also recommended by someone you know. Shout out from him to you, good old Scotty Snotty.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's doing a really cool thing now with Jack Fancy. Have you seen this?
Oh, it's funny stuff, man.
Oh, he fancy pies. I eat them every day. I've got them. I mail order
Ah.
the pies, and the boysenberry and huckleberry are my favorites. Yeah,
You say Huckleberry?
huckleberry. It's
Ooh, that's
amazing.
that
Yeah,
really legit is my favorite pie, man. But
it's fancy.
oh, that's awesome, dude. Um, so yeah, definitely shout out to him. We want to get him on as well. But what do you? I'll before we wrap up here, Mike. I'll speed it up to get for you to get going there. But thank you by the way for coming on. It's great seeing you. Like I said, um, I guess it's been over about 22 years since I saw you, man. I can't believe
Yeah,
it. You look the same once again. And what
right on.
about yeah, dude. And what about I want to ask you this because you've been in the business and we'd like to get you on too. The Wrestling Chatter is going to be doing some new stuff. I'm going to be involved in it, and everything that you've done, Mike, revolves around what this new show is about. That's all I'm going to say right now. But anyway,
Right on.
yeah. So, but we'll be in touch. But this is XPW. This is Xtreme Memories right now, and because of that, what in your mind would you say the? It's a big one to answer. It's all in a nutshell, but you can be spread out with this as much as you want. But what in your mind is going to be the legacy of XPW in the pro wrestling industry?
Oh, it's so early to tell. I honestly, I think this relaunch is going to be a big thing, and I think it's going to. Some people laughed at me. I posted on some internet thing. I posted that I thought they would be able to compete with AEW and even WWE. And a couple people, responded with la ha ha ha's. And I didn't necessarily mean right away with money or, like obviously their XPW isn't going to be going, worldwide anytime soon doing a show in India. That's not what I meant. What I meant was talent wise and product wise. Right now, XPW has a tremendous opportunity to fill a void that has existed for a while now. That WWE management and ownership does not want to cross certain boundaries, and XPW is in a good spot to do that. To shake things up again. And I think maybe that'll be its legacy, is that just when you thought you'd seen everything, maybe you haven't.
Yeah, I mean, like it or not, it's definitely has its detractors, and but like you said, it was that a lot, and a lot of people say that down here, like that we get right in that says, "Dang, you know what? I just miss having that around in Southern California." You went to an XPW show about once a month, and you felt this element of danger that you just don't feel anywhere else. Even at like a death metal
True.
show underground, it's still that doesn't even feel as dangerous as going to an XPW event.
Right.
Yeah, and
Right.
now that we find out stories like Mike Hartsfield, one of the producers, like he's come on and he was on Dark Side of the Ring, and stories like, yeah, we didn't really have insurance for Vic Grimes and New Jack at Freefall. We just kind of changed some dates, Xeroxed them, and because insurance would never have insured that, and that's the only way. Like, there's so many
Right.
stories like that. But by the way, I was going to leave with that question, but what was, since you're so close to Vic, and I know you weren't there at the time anymore, but when you heard about Freefall and New Jack and Vic Grimes, what were your thoughts? And but leading up to it and after you saw it.
Well, when that happened, when the free fall thing happened, I wasn't watching it live, and Vic actually called me from the hospital, and Vic told me that I was right. He said, "You were right, Mike. I should have been wrestling and not risking my life like that." Because Vic was all about taking risks for people, and he wanted adoration of the promoter and the fans alike. And it made it easy for promoters to take advantage of him. And I'm not saying in a bad way, because Vic was a willing participant, you know. I tried to train that out of him, and I was never successful in doing that.
Wow. Well, I mean, I don't think he gets quite enough credit for his actual wrestling, though.
No, he was an amazing wrestler. That's the thing. He was crazy good, good, and yet he would, you know, pick up a barbed wire baseball bat and you know, he wanted to use that too. You know, there was a match where he wanted to use a baseball bat on me with barbed wire, and I said, "No, Vic, we're not doing that." And he got all dejected, and he went and kind of sat down, all bummed out. And so I said, "All right, fine. You can hit me with the baseball bat. Hit me in the gut. Don't even hit me in the head, Vic, please." You know. And he was like, "Okay, I'll hit you in the gut." You know. And so during the show, he hit me in the gut, and of course, it left little poke marks in my belly, and I was bleeding in several little spots on my gut, and I wasn't too happy about it. But at least it made Vic's night, you know, that he got to hit me with the baseball bat.
Are those scars still there?
No. They were tiny.
Gotcha. Well, dude, Michael, it's been a blast, man, and thank you so much. I see you're kind of busy right now, and you're walking the town on Xtreme Memories, so you're bringing the message of the wrestling chatter to the neighborhood you're in. We appreciate that.
No doubt.
Before we go, anything you want to say, whether it's shout outs, whether it's you know, plugging yourself, or anything you'd like to say to the fans, or all of the above, or something else?
You know, man, I'll leave you guys with one last XPW story. There was one day, one show I showed up, and I was there very early, and I fell asleep on a massage table, and Nicole Bass got on top of me and was holding me down, and I woke up with Nicole Bass on me, and she said, "Now I can have my way with you, Mike," you know. And I kind of laughed, and I went to power out of it with my arms, and I realized I couldn't. She was too strong. She had me pinned down, man. So I kind of panicked almost, and I bridged and threw her forward off of the table, and she ended up taking a bump right off the table.
Oh, no.
But yeah, I panicked because I honestly couldn't get her off me. Like, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, this is insulting my manhood," you know. But she was a really sweet person. And other than that, check me out on 13 Reasons Why on Netflix, second season, episodes 11 and 12. And yeah, I'm doing a little acting here and there. So dude, I got to play a cop on 13 Reasons Why. It was pretty cool.
Wow, good for you, man. All right, fans, you heard him right there. Check that out. Any links that you might have, send them our way. And if not, you can throw them in the comment section yourself down below when this video is posted. Yeah, please.
Right on, cool.
Well, hey, once again, this has been Xtreme Memories. My name is Kris Kloss. I'm your host. Our guest this evening has been the one and only Michael Modest. You saw him in the infancy stages, the groundbreaking, the foundation that was to be the legacy of XPW started with this guy right here, Michael Modest. Thank you again for joining us on Xtreme Memories, Mike.
Right on, man. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, great to have you. A blast from the past. Wrestling Chatter. Be sure to subscribe, fans. The more subscribers we get, the more great content we can bring to you. More Xtreme Memories coming up on the 15th and 30th of the month. Michael Modest, Kris Kloss, we are both out. Thanks for joining us,
Peace
fans.
And love.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching Xtreme Memories, hosted by Kris Kloss. He's dropping new episodes every month on the 15th and 30th. You can be the first to tune in by subscribing to the Wrestling Chatter channel right here on YouTube. See you next time.